Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of It's Cool. I know the owner. I'm your host, Zach Schmidt with the Horton Group. And with me, I have the owners of 8 Hospitality today, Chris Bader and Carmen Rossi.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
How we doing today, guys? Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having us, Horton Group and Zach. Thank you very much. Thank you, Horton Group. Shout out the Horton Group.
I love it. They're already on board. So what's going on, guys? How you been? I haven't seen you much since this past summer.
Well, let's see. You haven't seen us since you left the industry, started on your own.
We haven't seen you since you quit.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad note. Yeah.
We're doing the interview.
Always a little guilt there.
You know, that said, we're doing more projects. I know Chris and I are a little bit diverse in our own talents and focuses and what we're focusing on. It's not simply limited to hospitality rather, but yeah, Chris, what do you?
So what are some other things you guys currently have in the works?
We have, this is, being filmed in January. And this was, what I had in the works was a parlay that was supposed to hit with the Dallas Cowboys.
Absolutely
devastating. And as Carmen said, no one in the office is going back in San Francisco. And we wish San Francisco the worst and the 49ers the worst. It's very important to say that.
If the overall energy of this podcast is perhaps not as enthusiastic, it's because of yesterday's devastating Dallas.
You guys lost a lot of money.
Responsibly. We gamble on the gaming apps responsibly. We responsibly lost 2 bars yesterday.
So 8 Hospitality has just been cut in half in the last 24 hours.
One hospitality.
We are
be confused with one-off hospitality.
Yeah. We are not one-off hospitality. We were 8 hospitality. Now we're down to 1 hospitality. Should championship weekend this weekend go well, we'll be back to 10 hospitality.
I love it.
I moonlight as a comedian. It is my passion. Just having fun doing videos and stuff like that.
How many years have you been doing that now?
10 years. 10 years. Right around when we started buying, when we started our hospitality group, which would be February, would be our 10-year anniversary. And last year I had a killer year. I made $11,400 in comedy, which I parlayed that into some responsible bets that didn't work out. We have some good projects coming up. We have some stuff in the West Loop that we haven't officially announced yet. We have a building on Randolph Row, and it's a little bit more west than the primary locations, but it's where everything is going, and we're excited about that project.
Company, a lot of our initial projects, and perhaps not surprisingly, were in neighborhoods we're more north. Bar 63 on Broadway, which was the old Hamilton's. That's in Rogers Park.
Yeah, Old Loyola Bar.
Loyola Bar, yeah. And then, we had a bunch on Lincoln Avenue and Lincoln Park, and then we got into Old Town. We've expanded in River North and the Loop. And we're both looking at projects outside of the state, down from Georgia, Arizona, New York,
Florida.
Yeah. So now we're just looking at a portfolio of locations and imagining some diversity.
So not only like expanding business to other states nationally, like you just mentioned being successful in Chicago, have you guys ever thought about or considered if you were to live somewhere else in the U.S., do you think you could thrive somewhere else? What would be some place that comes to mind?
I think
East Coast, West Coast. Are you too established in Chicago to leave it at this point, or you just like where you're at?
No, I think it's a big period of growth. If you see what's going on in the city of Chicago and the largest hospitality groups, more than ever the last 3 or 4 years, you're seeing a lot of them have great success in several different states. Not necessarily because they're a franchise or they want to, it's not 30 McDonald's, but it's the groups you see here. So in the Southeast, for example, Chicago, you could go to a Chicago tavern, like just a tavern style bar, and get really good burger and fries and food. And that same food is not made at different other taverns around the country. Like, it's just not as good. So if you take our approach to hospitality, as Carmen says, like, it's kind of like they used to say, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. If you make it in Chicago, you can make it anywhere. So it's kind of the idea of what we're able to do in Chicago. You don't see it on the West Coast. You don't see it in Los Angeles. Like, they're at and this is not a dig at those servers that are working hard because they're in the entertainment business, but they're more concerned of where their next audition is, what's going to happen, if their next video is going to pop, a lot of them. And in Chicago, people are career servers. And we're fortunate enough at hospitality where we're people who do 2 jobs at once, and they really care about the consumer. They really care about the product that comes out. And you don't see that around the country. So we want to apply that, happy pressure to those other cities. And, that's why we're thinking about taking some of our concepts to other cities, taking our talents of what we know about the hospitality to other cities, and getting the staff to buy in, take stake in the company. We think there's a big void in a lot of cities. So we're looking everywhere. For me, to answer the final question of what cities, I think Carmen and I both have an affection for New York. I think we both enjoy Florida. Those are, for me, those are from cities that if we were going to live somewhere part-time or go back and forth, but, Carmen?
Well, I don't want to be infamous in saying this, but I love this city. I never imagined leaving, and I'll stay here until they run me out. Casino's a hot topic. It's not a topic where at any point everyone's going to be on the same page by a long shot. Should just removing all of the noise, I think that I'm hopeful that gaming as an industry will continue to get more attention for business opportunities. I mean, throughout the state, if you have a liquor license, many municipalities allow you to have gaming terminal operations.
So
which would be great for a small business.
So sorry, not to interrupt, but the things you're talking about now, like, in your opinion, do you find that like Illinois and Chicago is kind of behind the curve as far as a lot of industries like marijuana, gaming, things that other states and major cities are doing, but we always seem to be the last to get legalized and get funding for and really get going on?
I will answer this question by saying I have a little bit of an advantage in that I spend a good amount of time following this stuff. Illinois state population is dropping. City of Chicago's population is increasing, in particular major sects. Where we're losing significantly is the west and south sides. Those communities are ravaged, and you're just seeing people leave in droves. That said, no, go to other states. Illinois is pretty aggressively progressive when it comes to cannabis. We are both medical and rec. To answer your question, every municipality sort of has home rule. So while it's legal in the state, every town gets to decide its extent.
Right.
And, the city of Chicago doesn't have lounges yet, but I think you'll see that maybe within 2023. When it comes to gaming,
starting to pop up in the suburbs and stuff.
You'll see them in the suburbs for sure.
Where there's like consumption lounges, and you can buy your pot brownies and have a cup of coffee, and it's almost like a weed Starbucks or like a cafe.
But that is interesting, or maybe it's only interesting to people who are one-to-one or directly intimate with those industries. But will cannabis play a role in food and beverage? Will lounges find a way to revenue generate? Gaming, I think we've scratched the surface. Illinois is the 3rd largest gaming state in the country. We have reached, I think we're 3 months in a row, over $1 billion a month wagered. I think Illinois could be a top 2 market when it comes to sports gaming. That's an incredible stat. Because we're not number 2 in population necessarily. And, but I think Midwest culture is very sport driven. So can we imagine how gaming coalesces with F&B, hospitality concepts, where it becomes part of the business model? these are things that we're exploring. Same with cannabis. I don't think there is a proven economic model to show that a lounge within a regulatory scheme works on F&B, but I think we'll progress in time.
A lot of people know who you guys are, especially in hospitality, but to get a little more background on you guys, we started talking about it. That's a big part of this podcast, getting to know you guys, where you came from. We talked a lot about the present right now and where things are going. So, when I first heard about you guys, when I was working at State with your boy Robin Cook, he would mention you guys. You all went to U of I together. So if you could just brief history, background, how you guys met, where you come from, and how it led into what you're doing now.
There was a bar in University of Illinois Champaign called C.O. Daniels. And I'm not going to tell you the year because Carmen and I are Gen Z. And during that time, I went to University of Illinois in Champaign, and I was kind of like a party planner for the bar. And the bar had just hired students on campus. Typically in a bar in Champaign, you would have to work your way up. So you're a doorman, you're a bar back, then you become a head doorman, or you become a bartender, then you become a manager. The advantage of University of Illinois Champaign has always been 19 to enter the bars, and to work there as well. So it really helped students who needed money. So, I was a college student. I wanted money, so I applied to this bar. Mm-hmm. And one day I walk in, and I don't know if you guys know American Idol, but there was a guy who looked just like one of the stars from American Idol. And he was wearing a red suit, and that was Carmen, and he was managing the bar at the time.
Wait, what was the name of this American Idol?
Clay Aiken.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to say it.
He had these beautiful highlights. He had these beautiful frosted tips, and I was like, "Who is this beautiful?"
Mine, but I don't think you look like him.
And I was like, "Who is this beautiful man?" And we got to become fast friends. And Carmen was managing the bar, and what had just happened, Robin Cook had the wherewithal to say, "Listen, we're going to beat these other bars, the competition. Enough of this. If you're a doorman, then you move up, and if you're a female shot girl, then you become bartender." He said, let's just find people who hold executive positions at fraternities and sororities and who are very popular and have, influence on the campus. So Carmen was a manager, and then we started working together in different fraternities, and then we became great friends as, things went on.
Okay, so from U of I or during U of I, Wingman Productions, when did you guys, how'd that come about?
My sister was dating this guy who, this is I was 18, 19, and she was dating this guy, and he said, hey, my friend puts himself through college because he throws parties. And then I kind of was interested. I met him. His name was Rob. He's working at a place called High Tops in Wrigley. And he said, hey, if you bring your friends. And at the time, I was 19. I was like, okay, what do I have to do? He's like, you invite all your friends, and then I'll give you $1 per person. I was like, shit, if I got 100 people, that's $100. And I thought that was a lot. Then later I realized he was getting $10, and that guy was a piece of shit.
Promoters are getting paid these days.
Yeah. Well, now it's event companies who are licensed, and we work with them. But yeah. So it kind of started from there, and then I needed help. And Carmen had a huge influence from his high school and people who we knew on campus as well, because we were in separate fraternities. And he had a side of a brain that I didn't have. So we kind of combined and started working together. And we were working with bars in Chicago, like the one that you used to work at State. And we kind of took ideas like St. Patrick's Day, unofficial St. Patrick's Day, which was happening at University of Illinois Champaign, which I think still happens, right? Does not delete that part. A version of it happens. And so we kind of applied what we knew and started doing it in Chicago.
What got you into 8 Hospitality? Were you like, I want to back off a little bit of the events, the promotions, get more into us owning and running our own venues?
We were working with a group at the time that we thought was splitting up. And at the time, Carmen was finishing his last year of law school. He was about to sit for the bar. and we saw an opportunity where Hubbard Inn was about to go for sale. A great group of guys, and we're still friends with all of them. And we thought Hubbard Inn was about to go for sale, so inserted kind of Carmen and him and I, and we met up with our other partner, and we just all worked together to make it happen. So at that time, our first venture was here, Hubbard Inn, and that's kind of what started.
When you're young, the other side of life is your expenses are reasonable. Both Chris and I had student loans. Do you still have student loans? I still have student loans. But,
Because Joe Biden is going to get rid of all my student loans.
I don't qualify. Not because I'm above any age bracket or anything. But
You should write a letter to the president.
I think, so when it became time, we saved up money. We met through our network. I mean, there is not a bigger catalyst to our success than our network. I do think that luck and timing has so much to do with things. And I can't stand that proverbial character in a movie that says, I don't believe in luck. You make your own luck, blah, blah, blah. That's just a silly, silly movie line.
There's kind of a right time and place. Like things do have to line up.
Oh, you
For
could
big things to happen, it needs to be all
have an
like,
amazing idea in a recession and be
right.
ahead of
Or
your
you go
time.
about it wrong, or you don't capitalize on opportunity.
You see it all the time.
Yeah, it's a little bit of luck.
But the luck where we would perhaps describe a central ingredient to luck is our network. I mean, we've been super fortunate. And I guess that could be a testament to character and personality, in that, the network has to be welcoming with open arms, I suppose. But we were able to, through our network, find the resources to develop the company.
So you kind of talked about being younger. You have the advantage of, you're newer to things. You have the advantage of, expenses, the ambition, the energy, all the things, like you're starting these things for the first time. But in a way, I feel like a disadvantage could be is like the know-how, the experience, the knowledge. Now, I'm sure you guys ran into that. Were there a lot of things where you were taking on these big ambitious projects and it was just like figuring out as you go along, like a lot of people do or should do, but there's a lot of those people who are like, this needs to be perfect and figured out before we can even start it, and then it never happens. Is that a big part of being an entrepreneur, diving into big projects? Of course, you want to be educated to a certain extent, but sometimes you just got to start, right?
I'll take the first stab at this, but I'm answering yours. I am incredibly impressed with the acumen and skill set of a solo entrepreneur who can start and manage their own company individually. I do not possess such talents. I think it's evidenced in the many myriad of ventures we do, both inside of hospitality and outside of it. We seek out, our personalities seek out partners and industry experts. And that's been consistent since we really started working together. If you're missing an element of the team, if there's a certain required, knowledge base, we won't pull the trigger prematurely. We'll really converse on that, like make sure that we're capable of pulling this off. But again, that goes, we were very fortunate to find some people, and as a measure of partnership, that's great, but it's the same theme in recruitment of talent. I mean, you want to recruit on your team the holes and the gaps.
So what do you look for in a business partner? Because I think about ideas I have, things I want to do, things I want to pursue. And maybe I've known someone for 15 years, but then, you think they could be good, they could be helpful. You have similar ideas and ambitions, but then, maybe you don't trust them. Maybe they're not this, maybe they're not that. it's hard to start a relationship or have a long-standing business relationship, so what do you look for to start that partnership and continue it? That's like an honest question I've always had, because it's tough to find those people to where, hey, we're going to start this and we're going to blow it up. It's going to be, I know it's constant work. It's a relationship. What do you look for from the start and during?
Yeah, I mean, not a simple question, but
Yeah.
here's two analogies. One, you're getting married.
Yeah.
And it is not typical that folks get married after one or two dates. So to your point, there has to be history. And if you're just meeting for the first time, but you think it should be a good fit, I've made the mistake of getting too excited, and wanting to bring somebody aboard without taking the time to really get to know, and not rushing into things.
Right.
And I'm super conscious of that now. The other thing is baseball analogy. I mean, you got to have at-bats and you got to have a decent batting average, which is to say, like, I want to hear about, not everything is starting your own business. Like, Zach, you're your own business. You don't need to start your own insurance company. Like, the Zach Schmidt brand is its own business. I've got this portfolio, skill set in hospitality, this in sales. I'm interested in these industries such as risk management, insurance, et cetera. Like, that is a brand. And there's going to be a whole sports reel of success and stories. When I worked for this company, when I did this. And you want to learn about that. You want to be able to brag about your team.
What's the need for a partner to begin with? So you have a business idea and everyone who's a solo entrepreneur thinks, I need to start an LLC. I need to get a business partner. I need to get this. You just need to back up. Like kind of what Carmen was saying on personal branding. Like whether it's you're going to start a fashion line, you're going to start a YouTube page, you're going to open a breakfast place. What's your brand? How are you going to get consumers? So just back into that. Like, is anyone going to buy this? Like, whether I have a candy shop online, or I'm doing logistics, or I'm selling property casualty insurance, why are people buying this? So if this partner has been with me in the trenches for years, then you take them along for the ride, or you ask them if they want to participate. That makes sense. But if you're looking for a new partner because you know nothing about insurance, then okay, then they're knowledge based. So you're partnering with them strategically because of their knowledge. Then is there a financial commitment that you have to start this new company? So who's going to contribute financially? Sometimes a business partner is just somebody who's silent, who's contributing financially. Mm-hmm. And then you have to really look at it, as Carmen said, do I know this person that well? Do I know if they operate with integrity? It's kind of like you're hiring someone at your company. You want to get some references if it's brand new. And then you don't just partner with people because they're your friend, because that's MC Hammer did that. It didn't work out for him. So that's what I would think. Right now, at our stage, being over 10 years into this, we partner with people strategically because we think, is there a reason for this strategic partnership, But the most important thing, if you're starting a business, it's good to have crazy ideas because a lot of people talk themselves out of it. Like, just try it for sure.
Right.
But it's also limit your costs in the beginning, however you can do it. Instead of being like, I have to raise $2 million because I'm going to think of an app.
Limit the risk, take a little at a time.
Yeah, we have so many meetings with the younger generation, which they say the younger generation is not entrepreneurially driven, but they are. And
I'd say
so many of them are,
ever.
Some of them are saying, well, I'm trying to raise this much money. And then I say, well, what's your product? And they haven't even developed the product yet. And they're just like, well, this is my business plan. And I talked to my aunt about it. And I'm like, well, go back and kind of fix the business plan. That's your aunt was wrong. And that's why, your aunt was selling perfume for 30 years. But that's just.
Is this a specific story?
No, not at all. It's just like.
Sounds like you have someone in mind.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I say this because we were just talking about, I'm super sensitive to engaging, not just with younger people, but anybody who just finds themselves, I do think there's a perfect job out there for everyone. I just think most people don't find it. And that's the sort of stress. Maybe they don't find it because they don't have the time. or they don't have the resources, but it is, part of our internal dream to wake up every day and imagine working for your dream job.
Yeah. It's easy to get stuck kind of going down one path. 10 years go by and you just get deeper and deeper in it. And, maybe it's too late to try something different or
Risk averse.
Right. It's not worth the risk, or you just don't know how to pursue that. Yeah.
Chris is excellent at communicating, asking questions, reaching out to industry experts, whatever the industry. And I think that's a wonderful personality trait to have if you're starting a business or just following a passion or just exploring an opportunity, is meeting with industry experts, asking a ton of questions. And I think, if there was a theme to this whole thing, is that you're finding two people who've managed to find some success in hospitality and real estate development with no background in hospitality, real estate development, acumen. And you're asking us the story, and we've attempted to bring you on a journey in 20, 30 minutes. But, the reality is we're just a couple of normal guys who met in college and have definitely fed off one another's, strengths and networks. And now, looking toward the future, I mean, this is a great, I imagine, at least for some time until you get national syndication for your podcast, Zach, working on it. This will be more located to Chicago.
Yes.
Anything you want to leave us with?
Just about 20 more minutes left. I want to kind of piggyback off of what Carmen has said. For anyone out there who wants to be an entrepreneur or, partnership, stuff about hospitality, he kind of hit it on the head. Like, we became good friends. We both had these aspirations to find success. And it's a roller coaster, and it goes up and down, and there's good. And I would say after 10 years, if you're getting worse at something, you probably should stop doing that thing.
Time to reevaluate.
And a great gauge is, Carmen didn't mention this about himself, but he's also has a law firm. He's also an attorney, not necessarily a litigator, but, does different types of transactions. And I've watched his personal brand and him as an attorney kind of grow every single year. And I think and he indexes himself well into other businesses. And now I've come along for the ride as well. And I look at other businesses. We love business. It sounds silly, like to love business, but we'll look at anything like creating jobs in the city of Chicago, creating jobs in Illinois, building companies, building culture. And from the success we've taken that we've had in the hospitality and real estate development, we're kind of parlaying that into other ventures. We've been successful. So I'm excited to see where the next 10 years is. Who knows? But if you're getting worse at something, you really need to stop. Maybe go to Chase. TCF Bank is hiring. Switch it up. Or 8 Hospitality. We're looking for bookkeepers or people. So
or come back to 8 Hospitality.
Or come back to Hospitality. Zach, you have an open offer to start as an assistant floor manager. Thank you.
Bar back, whatever I got to do.
Thank you to Zach. Thank you to Zach. Thank you to everyone. Please buy insurance from Zach.
All right. Thank you guys. Again, Chris Bader, Carmen Rossi. Thanks for coming out today, sharing your story. Now you guys do know the owners. And with that, farewell.